welcome to all of you here for our year-long journey on Cox Campus. Some of you may have joined us for some of our previous conversations. Some of you, this may be your first time. So welcome. We are so excited to see each and every one of you here. And then we're going to, I believe, hop over to our next slide to get introduced our topic. And we are here to talk about Rhyme with Me. This is one of our courses on Cox Campus, all about building early language and literacy skills with children ranging the age from 0 to 3 years old. But we know that rhyming is important all through our lives. So that's the age group we'll be focusing on, is our infants and our toddlers. And I am Christina Mendonca. I am a Birth to 5 facilitator with the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy. I've been in education for a little over 6 years. I am passionate about inclusive and equitable learning environments. I believe it is crucial that all children are provided with the opportunity of choice-filled lives. I enjoy working with educators on reflecting on language and literacy practices because it is such a key component to self-expression. In my free time, I enjoy yoga and hanging out with my pup, April. Shante, over to you.
All right, my name is Shante Lyons, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I've been in education for going on over 16 years. I'm very passionate about our field and our craft. I believe that all children deserve to develop the skills and knowledge that they need to be just productive, active citizens in society, you know. But I really am passionate about collaborating with educators and sharing information and leaning on each other so that we can empower children across the world. So in my free time, I'm a mommy, I have a 1-year-old. So I enjoy a great movie and I enjoy some napping. That's some of my things that I like to do in my free time, but that's just a little bit about me. And I'm excited about today. I am a Birth to 5 facilitator for the Rollins Center. And also a Cox Campus coach here. And so it's going to be an action-packed day, and we're both very, very excited to just begin this journey with you today. So feel free to be interactive, and we can go ahead and begin. So first off, we want to let you know the Cox Campus way. So there are some core values that we want to just expose you to and let you know. We want Cox Campus to be a rewarding experience, which is our online platform. We believe in empowering individuals, everyone in the ecosystem of a child, so that's educators, parents, healthcare field, and the list goes on. And we believe in connection. So we want everyone to come in and connect and collaborate, and also let you know that when you engage with us on our platform in any way through webinar, it's a safe place, and that the information that we share is essential because it's rooted in science. And so we just want to let you know the Cox Campus way. So that's our core values. And also too, if you are hearing Cox Campus for the first time, our platform is here for everyone. It's 100% free. You don't have to sign up and pay anything to be a member, but it was built by experts and educators and for families and healthcare providers. So again, think about the ecosystem of a child and everyone that can contribute to a child's world and impact them. So this is our platform, and our website is www.coxcampus.org. And if you're thinking, I don't necessarily have an account for Cox Campus, it's really simple and easy and takes less than a minute, you know. So you can sign up and create your membership today. And we even have apps if you're an Android user or use iPhone. So our learning objectives for today, we're going to explain how rhythm and rhyme improves early literacy skills in infants and toddlers, identify and recognize best practices for reading rhyming books and with infants and toddlers. And lastly, but not least, we're going to use brain building rhythm and rhyme activities throughout the entire day. So we're going to highlight some of those things for you today.
Awesome. And Shantae mentioned that ecosystem of a child. So before we move any further, let's just take a minute to look at what that is for a young child around language and literacy. So these are an overview of our 9 essential ecosystem elements that contribute to a language-centered ecosystem where children can learn and thrive. For the purpose of this conversation, we're going to be focusing on 3 of them. So the first one on the screen that you'll see reading left to right is a focus on emergent literacy, or our acronym PAC, which is for our older children, and emergent writing. So we're going to be thinking more about that emergent literacy with little ones, because the activities that you're doing during Rhyme with Me allows them to play with the sounds of language and hear it with you in a relationship-based method. So we're definitely going to be highlighting that. The other element is integrated planning around an anchor book. And that is all about those rhyming books, those fun stories that have those rhyming words together that are developmentally appropriate and embedded in all the different activities you're doing throughout the day. So the children have multiple opportunities to hear the stories as well as the words that are in them. And last but definitely not least, element number 7, which is the last star, that one is consistent routines, rituals, and transitions. Rhymings are great ways to flow your day from one activity to a next. What kiddo does not love hearing a little song or rhyme to go with, like, let's go outside, or let's wash our hands, like, this is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands. It makes the day go by in such a fun and light way while really developing those phonological awareness skills. And so next, we know you're all amazing educators out there, so we want to hear from you. As Shantae mentioned, this is a conversation. We want to hear your voices and your input. So in the chat or come off mute, whatever you feel comfortable with, let us know, like, what are some benefits of rhythm and rhyme that you have experienced in your classroom, or maybe even in your own personal life? And it can be anything you've noticed. What happens when you sing to a child? What do they do? Or, oh, yeah, makes unpleasant tests go by faster. That's for sure. I know I used to sing a lot while changing diapers. That is for sure. Easy to remember. Yeah, totally. You're able to really remember something that has a catchy tune. Learning, absolutely. Like we mentioned, that phonological awareness is all building up. Wow, you guys are dropping them so fast. Hearing sounds, and yeah, the same sounds and words, absolutely. Which words sound similar? Getting your day started, thinking about those rituals, how important that is for a child coming in and they hear the same song every morning, knowing that they get to connect with their teacher. Creates an even flow for speaking and reading. Yeah, we're going to talk a little about that in a bit, about how you start hearing the patterns of speech. Children start mimicking your movements and rhythm. Yeah, so there's some physical pieces to it too, right? Absolutely. Alphabet counting, nursery rhymes, repetition enhances learning. So hearing the rhyme more times than one will help them recall it in the future. Absolutely. Wow, you guys are just so awesome. Thank you so much for participating. I know it can always feel a little, so a little nervous at the start of a presentation, but you guys just jump right in it. So keep it coming. Yeah. All right, so now we're going to unveil what we recognize here at the Rollins Center of what rhythm and rhyme develops. And you guys are so spot on. And we're going to dive a little deeper into that. So Sam, if you can go ahead and click it so the visual shows. Perfect. So we talked about how makes unpleasant tasks go faster. So building those relationships. So even if something a kiddo doesn't really want to do in that moment, maybe like I have to wash my hands because I'm about to eat, you can make it fun by singing. Talking about how it helps support language and literacy development. A few of you mentioned that. That's our phonological awareness right there, as well as our vocabulary and knowledge. Getting exposed to new words as well as new concepts in the world, because everything's so new for infants and toddlers. Creativity and imagination, just being able to have fun while learning. Yep, I just saw somebody post that too. And last but definitely not least, understanding a world of cultures. So introducing rhymes that are from different places, or maybe from the places that your children are from, and their families can share that with you all. How valuable is that for the families to come in and share something that is traditionally passed down in their family, or that is part of their everyday routine? Awesome, everyone, you were spot on. All right, let's shift to the next slide, and we're going to talk a little bit more, because some of you lifted up some of these facts as well. So on Cox Campus, we have this amazing resource for yourself, for any other educators that are working with you. It talks around how rhythm and rhyme nurtures development in all areas. So you can see here, it's broken down into the different developmental domains. So as we mentioned earlier about that relationship, you have a column there about how it promotes social emotional development. Someone mentioned how they start mimicking the same movements that you're doing. Exactly, that physical development. Like, how big of a deal is it they're singing a song that has to do with bye-bye, and then all of a sudden they're able to say bye-bye? That's awesome, right? That's something new they learned. Cognitive development. It starts building that symbolic thinking, and or even early math skills, thinking around some of the rhymes that have math skills in it. It makes me think of like, 5 little ducks went out one day over the hill and far away. When the mother duck said quack, 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 only 4 little ducks came back. You can do movement, you got a little math skills, you're building some language, you're building cognitive skills, it all with that one little rhyme. It's fantastic. And then, as you all kind of hit on it, language and literacy development as well. So definitely check out this resource. There's a lot more to it. We only had so much room on the slide. So Sam will be dropping links to Cox Campus as we go through it. So click on the ones that speak to you, and then you can download them and have them for yourself. Yes, also 5 Little Monkeys. Can't forget 5 Little Monkeys. Like, that's a classic. Thank you guys all for your participation in the chat. That's awesome. All right, Sam, we're ready. So now, what do we know? So we talked around some of this developmental portions, but what is the science behind it? What is our why? So we do know that thoughtfully and intentionally planned out rhythm and rhyme experiences nurture each of the areas of a child's development. So social, emotional, physical, cognitive, and language and literacy. Now, more specifically, the development that occurs with language and literacy includes vocabulary, comprehension, world knowledge, and phonological awareness, all through this intentional planning of lifting up rhythm and rhyme in your classroom. And it sounds like you guys are already right on the right page of what you're seeing in your classroom and what's worked for your kids. So hopefully having the science behind it will further be able to give you information to share with your families or other educators the importance of doing this every single day. Okay, and a little bit more science before we dive into the how. This is Scarboroughs Ropes. Some of you may have seen it before, but what we love about it at the Rollins Center is that it really breaks down how important each of these components of language and literacy development are to making skilled readers. And we're talking down to 3rd grade, but you're already developing these skills with these babies. And we wanted to highlight specific ones that were particularly important for Rhyme With Me. So the first one, as we discussed, is vocabulary knowledge, right? So we've talked around how being exposed to different rhymes can help with that. For example, the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. They may never have heard water spout before hearing it in that song. You get some exposure from that. Language structures, they start learning how words work together in specific order to make meaning through modeling. Down came the rain, right? So now they understand the rain came down. And then last but definitely not least, phonological awareness. Children will start hearing how you play with words that sound similar and the essential rhythms of language that will make them great readers in the future. So even understanding like wash the spider out. There's a specific order to make those words make sense. And that's exactly, someone else had lifted that up in the chat. So thank you so much for being ahead of the curve and seeing all the beautiful things that come with rhythm and rhyme.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and pivot to the how. But before we do, we really want to see who has had an opportunity to take the course Rhyme with Me. So what we're going to do is ask you to drop a number 1 in the comments, just so that we can do a pulse check to see who's had the opportunity to take the course Rhyme with Me today. And if you haven't had an opportunity, drop a 2, and we know that you're going to get started soon. So we see some 1s here, okay, some 2s. All right. Thank you so much for being responsive. Keep on doing what you're doing. This is really helpful for us as we continue to have dialogue and conversations throughout this webinar. All right. This is really good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a good split. Right, yes, and if you haven't taken the course yet, we've dropped the link so that you can get started eventually afterwards. But just want to give you a quick overview before we begin. We're going to test the limits a little bit and just show you, how to incorporate rhyme throughout the day. So this slide really depicts the importance of incorporating rhyme all throughout the day, but also connecting it to anchor books, and often connected it in context with play. So that's very important for this age level. You can incorporate rhyme by scaffolding experiences. That means making sure that you really are supporting children to be successful. So you have the example of fill in the blank. So if you were to start those nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty sat on a, and you would say wall. So that's an example of scaffolding experiences as you continue to expose them to the genre of rhyme. Also, it's really important to have responsive interactions with children as you incorporate rhyme throughout the day, really connecting with them and building relationships. And it's fantastic to incorporate rhyme in transitions as well too. And this is where your call and responses come in. And of course you have to teach them all these things beforehand. But I kind of wanted to kind of pivot and share that information right here, because we're going to ask you a reflective question. So we can go ahead to the next. So during this time, you can drop your thoughts in the chat box. You can raise your hand so that you can, come off mute. But the question is this: how often should infants and toddlers be exposed to rhythm and rhyme activities? And you can put that in the chat for us today. I see some things coming in. We see all the time, all throughout the day, every day, multiple times, absolutely daily, every day. 3 times a day, as often as possible. Oh, I see Sonia, you want to come off of mute? Come on.
As much as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. The more exposure, the better. We are the children's language models. The more that we incorporate rhyme throughout the day, the better, and they need that exposure in different contexts to rhyme in order to grasp these things. And so, yes, frequently as possible. And you can really incorporate it so many times when you incorporate your transitions as you're talking. And so this is just wonderful that everyone's coming in, and there's never a bad time to rhyme. Absolutely. 2 to 3 times a day. Yes. So I see that everyone is knowledgeable about this and knows the importance of making sure that we expose and really saturate children with rhythm and rhyme, because it's a critical foundational skill. So we're going to go on to the next slide. Thank you all for sharing. We really appreciate it. So here we have a resource, rhythm and rhyme throughout the day. So if you're thinking, okay, I have an idea or a concept of how I would incorporate rhythm and rhyme, but I really don't know exactly how to plot it. You can use something as simple as a bubble map that's featured on our screen right now to really plot the different times that you want to incorporate rhyme. This is an intentional way to plan and brainstorm. You can do this in common planning or with your co-teacher or what have you. But it's really just a simple tool, but a great tool to use when you're trying to be intentional. And even we have an area for your focused vocabulary that you can incorporate here. Now, this resource is available, on Cox Campus. And it's just a bubble map, but however, we want to make sure you kind of see what it looks like if you were to focus and target just rhythm and rhyme specifically. So we have an area for transitions, call and response. If you want to tune in, you might want to tune in different ways and make a connection to a book, an anchor book. And then we have some areas where you can be a little bit more creative. So that's that slide. All right, yeah, greetings as well too. Definitely incorporate rhythm and rhyme in your greetings and dismissals. Those are some key areas. So now we're going to pivot. We want to share some examples of what rhythm and rhyme looks like when it's incorporated throughout the day. And the important thing to remember as educators, you have to embrace your inner actress or your inner actor. And so we're going to just look at little small snippets of each clip so you can see how these teachers incorporate this practice throughout the day.
Come on and join in. Okay, y'all ready for the wheels on the bus? The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. The horn on the bus go beep, 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 beep. The horn on the bus go beep, 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 all through the town. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 swish. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 all through the town.
So that's one video of an infant toddler classroom. They're on the floor, and all of a sudden she starts to sing, and the children are engaged. You can even see the baby, they're smiling and their little heads bobbing from side to side. What a great way, and it's great and intentional way to incorporate rhyme. Another time we're going to look at is actually diaper time. So let's look at that clip as well.
Skidamarinka-dink-a-dink, skidamarinka-doo. I love you. Skidamarinka-dink-a-dink, skidamarinka-doo. I love you. Now you already know that. I love you in the morning. I love you in the afternoon. I love you in the evening and underneath the moon. So skidamarinka-dink-a-dink, skidamarinka-doo. I love you. How about that?
How about that? What a way to remix Skidamarink and do diaper time at the same time. That was amazing. It was great to see how engaged she was and tuned in to the child that she was attending to. And she even had fun with the song that she was introducing. So it was definitely, you're right, a great connection. And you can have fun the entire time that you're incorporating these skills, which are critical for children and their emergent skills. So we can pivot to the next slide. So we saw infants, and we want to make sure that we showed you clips of young toddlers and older toddlers as well, because we do realize that there's probably a mixture of educators serving different age levels. So this time we're going to look at rhythm and rhyme. And so the first one here is going to be more so at a table setting with young toddlers. And so we were going to play and see this example too. And I see, yes, you love how she incorporated that during diaper time. That was a skill. I would have to practice a couple of times. Actually, when I was in a classroom setting, I did practice to make sure that I was on tune just a little bit to make me feel happy. But yeah, you definitely have to be intentional. Let's go ahead and look at the young toddler video.
Who came to school today? Who came to school today? Kennedy. Clap, clap, clap. Kennedy. Clap, clap, clap. Kennedy came to school. And who came to school today? Who came to school today? Milo. Milo. Milo came to school. And who came to school today? Who came to school today? L. L. L came to school. And who came to school today? Who came to school today? Jackson. Jackson. Jackson came to school.
That is a catchy song for sure. And it goes to show sometimes you have to freestyle it, make up your own song. And so I'm thinking that she incorporated or made this song up as she was getting the children familiar with their names and see how engaged they were there at the table. So we've seen an example of infants on the carpet. We've seen examples of what it looks like to incorporate rhythm and rhyme during diaper changing at the table informally while they're waiting for a transition, who knows? And now we're going to pivot to older toddlers and see what rhythm and rhyme looks like on a carpet setting. And they're a little bit older, so it looks a little different. So let's look and see.
Big apple, little apple, Susie Q. Shake 'em to the left, shake 'em to the right, shake 'em to the middle, then shake 'em out of sight.
Yeah, and it looks completely different, but the key is all rhythm and rhyme, and it can look different, but the exposure is key and necessary. Yes, and I see that someone did, is it Dana? She said children love when you call their name. They love when you're creative and you're being silly and you're bringing drama. So bring all the drama, bring in embrace your inner actor and have fun. So we hope that you really enjoyed seeing the different examples for the various age levels. And again, feel free to share your thoughts in the chat as we continue to share content with you today.
That was a perfect segue, Shante. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
So, because we want to know, what parts of the day can you, or do you already, include rhyming activities into your day? And please be specific. Maybe you can send some inspiration to another educator. Maybe they've been doing the same rhyme every single day and want to change it up. So yeah, transitions. Share some of the songs you like to do during your transitions. Morning circle. Yeah, absolutely. That's another great time. Arrival, going for a walk, I see.
Oh, that's a good one. Going for a walk. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great one. And then ready to go home. That transition is huge. Coming to school and going home. Those are some big transitions for these little ones. After breakfast at the beginning of playtime. So really acknowledging these pivotal moments of the day and being intentional all day. Absolutely. We encourage for rhyme and rhythm throughout the day. Transition. Oh, let me see. I missed somebody. Indoor from group time to outdoor time. That's also coming from outside to inside. Make it fun and engaging. So all these different opportunities throughout the day, because you do have so many transitions with these little ones, you're able to engage them in this fun experience while really boosting their language and literacy skills. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you all for sharing. And so our next document that we're going to share out with all of you is a reflective tool for you on how you can think around your rhythm and rhyme throughout your day. And so it gives you a few questions around how your experience is going so far and what you might want to do the next time. So it just really allows you to take a minute, be like, hey, what have I been doing a lot of? What has worked? Maybe what do I want to try that I haven't done before? And it allows you to then change things up a little bit. So it's a really great reflective tool. We definitely recommend checking it out. And let us know. Definitely connect with us on Cox Campus. Tell us how that experience was for you. We're all here together right now, but we don't want this to be the end of our journey. We want you to come back and tell us how things went. Okay, so now you've seen how rhythm and rhyme are incorporated into the classroom. Let's talk about story time, because I mentioned earlier that it is all about that anchor book, and we have rhythm and rhyme books that are anchor books. So we're going to break this down a little bit about how you can incorporate rhythm and rhyme intentionally through your storybooks. But before we get started, we know everybody out there has been exposed to a rhyming book at some point in time. So think about those books and put into the chat, what is the first title that comes to mind? Don't overthink it. What is the first one that comes to mind? I don't want to say mine because I don't want Cat in the Hat. Sheep in a Jeep. I can't help but smile when I hear these titles because it's always so fun. Absolutely. Llama Llama,
Yeah.
classic. Brambleberry, Cat in the Hat. You Are My Love, I Love You. Oh, Each Peach a Pear of Plum, Green Eggs and Ham.
Yeah.
Brown Bear. Oh my goodness, I have one kiddo who they can't get enough of it. Absolutely. Well, I have to say, I've gifted to all my new friends who have kids about Pout Pout Fish, and they've had that memorized at this point. It's just so, again, those rhymes, they really help you remember what comes next. Thank you all. So keep dropping them in because we definitely want to hear what books you have been reading or ones that you really love, because then you may want to try that with some of your children. So, and trying our strategy with it. So now we're going to dive into the 3 great ways that you can incorporate rhyming books and a resource to help you with that. So on the next slide, you will see a resource that is on Cox Campus. And I know we're dropping a lot of resources, but I promise you, these are super helpful and they'll help you stay organized around being intentional for rhythm and rhyme. And so on this resource, it breaks it down for you, the 3 different types of reads. And the first read is a meaning read. So that really helps the children understand what is the main idea of the story, pushes in that focused vocabulary. And if any of you have attended our Read With Me year-long journey, you learned all about that during that conversation. It is also in our Read With Me course. So if you want more information on how to do a meaning read, definitely check that out because we do recommend that happening before you do your rhythm and rhyme reads, and trust me, you'll see why. Because the rhythm and rhyme reads are just so much fun. And sometimes it's hard to revert back to a meaning read once you do it as a rhythm or a rhyme. So definitely check out this resource. This walks you through each step and allows you to get connected to additional resources. But don't worry, we're going to break it down for you. So on this slide, we have our tips poster, which is connected with our Read With Me course. And what it does a beautiful job is breaking down the different components of reading with children. And so I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in reference to a rhyme or rhythm read as opposed to a tips read. So we're going to break down this poster for all of you in just a moment. And of course, I already mentioned it, but just to reiterate, if you haven't checked out our Read With Me or Reading Stories with Young Children on our year-long journey, you can check that out on YouTube, and we can drop the link into the chat for you all so you can find that pretty easily. All right, now, how do you pick a book? So of course, for rhythm and rhyme, you want a book that rhymes. That's important because otherwise you can't quite do the practice as would be helpful for your children's experience in developing this connection between rhyming and their anchor books. And so this is just an example of one that is on Cox Campus. What a Wonderful World. It is a phenomenal book. And we already have a guide and a bubble map completed for you on Cox Campus through our Literacy and Justice for All program. We have quite a few of these available for you. So if you have a book in mind, always go to Cox Campus and check out to see if we have a guide for it already. So then all you need to do is print it out, and it will allow you to label your book so you can see all the different steps I'm about to talk you through at a glance, and get extension activities. So when you're planning for the week, you have all this inspiration in one spot coming from other teachers just like you. We love pulling from our community and getting ideas for them. So what you have right there is a huge network of teachers sharing information. So I definitely recommend checking that out on Cox Campus. And again, we have multiple guides for our infants and toddlers. Okay, so now let's break down this poster a little bit. So the T, this is our tune in. Whenever you have a book that you want to read with children, it's always great to draw them in with a song or a finger play. That's for a meaning read, a rhyme read, or however, because little bodies are very busy. And sometimes what they're interested in can be hard to shift from. But if you give them something fun to do in between, they'll be more interested in joining you for the story. So we always recommend doing a little tune in. Plus, it helps build that comprehension for the child. So there you can pick a song that goes with your book, and that will allow the child to already get ready, mentally prepared for reading that story. Now, choose a rhyming book and be knowledgeable of the guide or follow the child's lead. It's just like as I mentioned, that you'll have a book that you'll be able to have a rhythm to. And we're going to move on to our next one because I covered all those bullet points. So on our next slide, we're going to ask you, okay, I mentioned that you want to tune into the child using a finger play or song. So be creative, thinking about what a wonderful world, and yes, it's based off the song. What finger play might you join them, have the children join you in on, or what song? And you can just use those words that are in there. We did make it a little tricky. We wanted to see what creative ideas were out there. So share out, what might you sing to tune the children into that book? So if you thought of the word wonderful, any finger plays or rhymes come to mind about wonderful, or maybe the word world? Absolutely. Twinkle, twinkle. Mm-hmm. He's got the whole world in his hands. I see you, you see me. Yes, the whole world in his hands. Absolutely, wheels on the bus. Wonderful, yes, exactly. Awesome, well, thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Itsy Bitsy Spider. Awesome, and I'm gonna turn it over to Shantae to take us to our next portion. Thank you all for sharing out.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate just all the participation. And so now we're going to go into, okay, when I have a genre of rhyme book, how do I incorporate this strategy that we're talking about here, this practice of tips? So the I in tips is introduce the book. So you want to first call attention to the cover by pointing maybe to an illustration, and tell your children that you're reading to what the book is about. Set the purpose. And so again, when reading the genre of rhyme, you first start off with the meaning read, which basically is an emphasis on specific vocabulary words, and you're sharing with them through your pointing, your acting, your telling about those words. And there's even another way to kind of share about those words through think alouds. But then there's another way to read, which is the rhyme read, where you're really incorporating a lot of different things. And I'm going to pause because you know what? I'm supposed to just do the introduction to the book, but it's just also very yummy. So I'm just going to pause and just say, when it looks a little different when you are reading for a different purpose, for the meaning versus the rhyme and then the rhythm. And so you just have like a purpose statement that you would just say, and you will end it with, let's read and find out, you know? And so one example of reading for rhythm might be, oh, I noticed when I was reading the book that I can sing this song. Let's read and find out what it sounds like. You're stating the purpose. Or if I were to do the rhyme, you can say, you know, I noticed when we were reading the book before that some of the words sound the same at the end. Let's read and find out more about these words. So it looks a little different every time you pivot and you introduce and state the purpose for the book. We can go to the next slide. Also too, I already covered this a little bit, but P stands for promote language. And you can promote language in a lot of different ways. I have already a little bit introduced the PAT, which is a strategy that you use when you're pointing, you're acting, you're telling, meaning you're pointing to illustrations, you're acting out different vocabulary, and you're telling child-friendly definitions of those words that children might not understand. And you're being very intentional about this because you already know which vocabulary words you're going to point to, act out, and tell beforehand. So being very intentional is really key when you're promoting language. And you also can promote language through think alouds for your meaning read, but for your rhyming reads, you just point out the rhyming words as you read. And we're going to show you an example of what we mean in a moment. So yes, read the book, promote language. Also, the S stands for summarize the book. So this is when you flip back, right? You flip back through the book and you revisit previous illustrations and point out rhyming words you found while you were reading. And it's really a simple process. You just have to train yourself and practice makes perfect, right? As you're flipping back and summarizing the different rhyming words that you encountered while you were reading. And we can go to the next. So now we're going to the two examples that we want to share. And while you're looking at these videos, we really want you to think about what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and what you notice. Okay, so now we have this first video of a rhyme read of Shaquita, and she's on the floor, and I think it's Shake It Up Baby is the title that she's reading. We can play that.
All right, you guys, yesterday we read a book called Shake It Up Baby. And in our story, Baby was using a lot of instruments. Instruments are used to make music. And she had the rattles, she had the drums, and I remember hearing some rhyming words. Rhyming words are words that sound the same. Let's read our story this time and listen for the rhyming words. Touch your nose, rub your tummy, shake your rattle, isn't that funny? Shake your body, bounce and giggle, shake your rattle, spin and wiggle. Let's listen to those words again. Giggle, wiggle. Those words sound the same, so they rhyme. Clap your hands, everyone. Shake your rattle. Isn't that fun? Look at Baby. She's shaking her rattle, and they're sitting next to each other, smiling. They look like they're having so much fun. Bang, bang, bang on the drum. Now shake your rattle, rum-tum-dum. Wish and swish, up and down, wish and swish. Those are rhyming words. Shake the rattle all around.
And we can pause.
Reach up high, count.
Thank you so much. I just want to just ask you all, and feel free to put in the comments or share your thoughts. What did you see? Now remember, I did mention a lot of different concepts of when you introduce the book. I see Sonia has her hand up. Yes, Sonia, what would you like to say?
I see that she was acting a lot,
Yes.
and we will mention there's words that will rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Will make sounds too, and very animated.
Very animated, yes. And you really have to just smile, because I was really engaged myself as an adult. Can you imagine children sitting there listening to that read? She was very intentional. She knew the vocabulary she was going to point out. You saw she pointed to illustrations. She was acting, right? She was telling child-friendly definitions. So this is the rhythm, and pointing out those rhyming words, those rhyming words. And it's really a simple process once you get in the hang of it. I also hear that she's spoken to their level, definitely made her words age appropriate. She mentioned each object and demonstrated as well. I see in the chat. She picked easier examples for children. Exactly, you have to be responsive to the children that you're serving. So this is a quick example of how you can point out those rhyming words in a really simple, easy way. And those were great observations. She was pointing to the body, showing how to move, because children learn vocabulary through all these things, through the pointing, through the acting, the movements. That's how they learn. And so we just want to share with you one more quick example of how, when you read with a child 101, because at this age level, it's not a big group. It's a small group. It's usually, if they're two, it's two friends. If it's one, it's one friend. If they're three, it's probably three friends. So let's look at this rhyme read and see what we notice.
We like community, you and me, you and me. Let's read all about it. Let's read all about it in the book. Let's take a look. Read this story, Counting on Community. Let's read it again, and this time we're going to listen for the rhyme, for the words that sound the same. Counting on community. Living in community is a lot of fun. Let's count the ways that start with one. Here's the ball. Fun. One. They rhyme. They sound the same. One stuffed pinata for every holiday. Two neighborhood friends always out to play with the ball. Play holiday. 3 urban farmers knee deep in the mud. 4 fresh potatoes, 1 potato, 2 potatoes, 3 potatoes, spud. Spud and mud. They rhyme, they sound the same. 5 chunks of chalk on the sidewalk. 6 music makers who totally rock. Rock, chalk. 7 bikes and scooters and helmets to share. 8 picket signs showing that we care and share. They rhyme, they sound the same.
And we can pause.
9 tasty dishes, yummy, yummy potluck.
And I see we already have someone. Rosie says, tuned in with a song. Yeah, she tuned in with a song that was really engaging, because this friend didn't necessarily look like he was really ready to tune in, but once she started singing, she captured his attention, and that was really great, in a powerful way to engage children. And you notice, when you think about a group of children when you're reading at this age level as opposed to 101, it looks different, and you're able to have more of a connection, right, to the book, pointing, letting them point. So it kind of varies depending on the age level that you're working with. Yeah, and so those are the examples that we wanted to share. We really are grateful for all of your feedback, and we're going to pivot to another slide. I'm checking the time. And so I think that we are going to just pause for a second, and let's see what Angela has to say about this rhythm read.
Okay, remember when we read the book Llama Llama Nighty Night? Well, let's read this book again, and this time, let's listen to the rhythm. It's like a song. We can even move our bodies or clap our legs while we hear our story. Dinner's over, tummy fed. Llama, llama, time for bed. Time to brush and fill the tub. Time to splish and splash and scrub. PJ's on, then potty time. Choose a book with a silly rhyme. Snuggle in, turn out the light. Llama, llama, nighty night. All right, now listen, did you hear the rhythm? Did you hear the song in our story when we sang it?
All right, so we're glad that we are able to show you what it looks like in its entirety. So that was a true rhythm as opposed to rhyme when she was singing the song or singing the book as though it was a song. And so thank you so much for tuning into that. We're going to go to the next one. I think we have a connection. I'm going to just say, just think about this. We're going to probably just keep transitioning, but think about this question. How can you connect rhythm and rhyme to curriculum, to your curriculum themes? So think about the things that you have planned and the things that you can connect. So that's something, you know, as we continue to have dialogue, you can think about and take with you. We're going to go into the next slide real quickly. And I'm just going to, sorry for all the things and bonds, just share these resources before Christina takes it over. But these resources here are available on Cox Campus. We have the first resource that really tells you in detail how to prepare for your tune-in, how to prepare to introduce the book, and they show you explicit examples. And then you also have a template where you can go in and start writing in your own details and lesson plans. So you have a guide and you have the template so that you can practice. And of course, there's the bubble map that's there too if you just want to brainstorm first. But we just want to share these resources so that you know that they are available to you as you're starting to embed this practice within your classroom. Okay. And this is also another resource. If you have an opportunity to explore our Literacy and Justice for All resources, we have family engagement resources there that you can share with families because it continues. It doesn't stop at school. It continues at home, right? And it comes back and you partnership with the parents. And so sharing these songs and these rhythms and rhymes with them are really critical for this development for the children. And you can even share these sentence starters with the parents as well too. So that's available. And so we just want to share that. There's also the rhyme collection on Cox Campus. So there's just a ton of resources. And all you have to do is type in rhyme or rhythm and rhyme in the search engine and it will pull it all up for you. And this is also a transition activity, which is great if you have dual language learners in your classroom. And so with this particular resource, it's really great because it has it in English and in Spanish. And then there's even links so you can listen to the song and possibly see an example of what that would look like in your classroom. And I'm so excited about this resource, Christina, because this is a resource that highlights some great books for rhythm and rhyme, and also it incorporates different languages that you can highlight as you're incorporating these titles into your classroom. All right.
All right. And just a list of Shantae, I absolutely agree. Like that resource is phenomenal. We even have a link to a website that if you have children who don't speak English or Spanish, they speak a completely different language, you can find books translated into their language as well. So definitely check out that resource for the children that you serve who speak more than one language. So we are going to start wrapping it up. Believe it or not, our time is almost done. So take a minute, think about what is one thing from our presentation that you would like to try out in your classroom. Just take a minute to share it out in the chat. Movement. Yes, absolutely. I don't know about you. If I can move a word, I can better remember it.
Oh,
This
yeah.
has always worked for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
The resource library and making my own songs. Yes, absolutely. You always want to try out your own songs. Check out that resource library. Using more rhymes with books. Absolutely. And I do see, I think, Sonia, you have your hand up.
Finger play before activity.
Yes, absolutely. Build up that engagement with the finger play. Again, guys, let us know how it goes. Message us on our community board or through the intercom system on Cox Campus when you try this. Do art with music. Talking about extending that book, bringing it into other parts of your day, including instruments with songs. Yeah, instruments and rhythm. Finding that beat, which I'm not always great at. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Using rhymes all day. Absolutely. These are phenomenal ideas. We are so excited to hear how it goes. Bring it into your classroom tomorrow because you know it's easy. Just one simple change can make such a difference in what your children are experiencing. So don't feel like you have to try it all at once. Take it little by little. All right, everyone, we're going to start wrapping things up. So just before we go, we do want to lift up the initiative that we mentioned throughout the presentation. This is Literacy and Justice for All. It is an initiative to bring science of reading to children within a community by reaching children through the adults who serve them. And this is prenatally all the way to 3rd grade. And this was initially activated in Marietta. However, anybody can access the resources that are available on Cox Campus, and there are new ones going up all the time. So definitely keep tabs on our resource library. Also, we are going to have some more of these year-long journeys. So please sign up to join us on March 30th at 3 o'clock for infant and toddlers Talk With Me Baby, and at 4 o'clock for preschool pre-K for emergent writing, whichever one speaks to you the most. The wonderful Alicia and Crystal will be presenting to all of you on those topics. So we'd love to see you guys there, especially because you were amazing. You were so active in our participation, and we were just thrilled to hear your voices. Okay, now we are going to put up a poll. We want to hear how we did. Let us know what worked, what we could do differently in the future. You guys are our biggest pulse check, so please let us know. You should see a prompt on your screen, and then just fill it out. And I believe you hit submit at the bottom, and it should be good to go. So once you have that all in, we will go ahead and do one last little wrap up. Thank you guys all for everything you're writing in the chat. We had a blast with all of you. Shantae, I think I speak for both of us when I say that.
Yes, we really did. We had a great time. Thank you so much.